Hello, welcome to the Courageous Self-Care podcast. I'm your host, Christina Marlette. On this show, we talk about something that gets me very excited and filled with energy, which is courageous self-care. And that to me means self-care that goes, well, it's broader and wider what we normally think of as self-care. Yes, it's important to nourish and nurture ourselves with external self-care practices like getting our nails done or having a bubble bath or taking some time to read. And then there's also what I call internal self-care, which is where significant transformation awaits if you are courageous enough to venture into the unknown. Often we need a guide for that because the unknown is the unknown. And how do we know to go there if we don't know what it is? So that's one of the reasons I created the podcast. And then beyond the podcast, I was thinking, how can I get this message out to people in an even more profound way? And some of the values of courageous self-care are connection and community. And so I had this idea one day while meditating to host a festival. And that is what I decided to do. I like to put ideas into action that come during meditation. It took a few months to realize how I was going to do it, but it is in the works and it's coming up very soon. So then I thought, the speakers and the vendors and the wellness marketplace are so amazing. I would love to get their information out to more of the world. And then I realized, oh my gosh, I have a podcast. I already have the vehicle to do that. And so that is what we are going to be doing today. I have my guest and friend, Yvette Falconer. Yvette, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Christina.
So Yvette, you are sharing something very exciting and impactful at the festival. Why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you're up to?
Okay. I've been a QiGong teacher for about 8 years now, and I share QiGong through classes in the community centers, and at Wellspring, Calgary. It's a cancer center that's free for members, and they're compassionate caregivers, actually, and they can take courses there or classes such as yoga and qigong and healthy steps and creative avenues like that. So it's a wonderful place where their motto is no one has to face cancer alone. So that's a lovely place to be able to work at. And I also teach levels 1 through 3 in Qigong. So going through the fundamental movements, and then the second level is for helping others heal and ourselves. It's kind of a healing modality that works through the meridians based on Chinese medicine. So like acupuncture without the needles, which the actual self-care of the Qigong practice is. We're actually opening our own meridians during Qigong. And then level 3 goes a little deeper into spiritual connection and deeper meditation within our Qigong. That's mainly what I do, healing and teaching, and always will be a student of Qigong.
So some of our listeners might not know what Qigong actually is. How do you describe it to people who it's their first time hearing about it?
So Qigong is originally it was like art of breathing in a sense. So we follow our breath. We use our breath to open the channels in our body, meridian channels, if you're familiar with acupuncture. They run through our body. We practice something called energy breathing, where we breathe through our skin, through our entire body. We also use our intention, so using our mind. So where our mind goes, energy flows. So we use the power of this fact, I guess this, the way things are. And like, for instance, if you hit your toe and you focus on that toe, your toe will be larger than life, right? Because we're sending extra energy to the pain, feeding that pain. So what we want to do with Qigong is focus kind of on the peace and the serenity, our breath, the things that make us feel calm and in a healed state. What else do I want to say about Qigong? So Qi is energy, life force energy, our breath, our vitality energy, and Gong means to work or to cultivate or to harvest or to transform. So we use Einstein's idea that energy can neither be created nor destroyed, only transformed. So we use our breath, we use intention, we use movement and the power and vibration frequency of sound to transform energy in our body. And there is no bad energy or good energy, just too much in our body. So we just want to move it and bring it back into balance. And that brings our life back into balance when our energy is balanced.
Well, I was getting goosebumps while you were talking about it. So it's very powerful what you experience and what you teach and what you've immersed yourself in. And at the festival, I know you're going to be sharing, we have added a complimentary Qigong session first thing in the morning for eager early birds who want to experience this firsthand. And then in the marketplace, the wellness marketplace, you're going to be sharing Qigong and Qisage. So Yvette, why is your passion about Qigong so important to you, and how did it come into your life?
I had a very kind of serious illness, spinal meningitis, created by spinal surgery and a superbug, the MRSA, basically antibiotic resistant virus that gets caught up in our system. And after that, I had to regain my strength. And I found that this practice, it's kind of a derivative, the source of Reiki energy, if you've ever heard of that. So Qigong is a natural way to do healing for yourself by opening the meridians. And I found that I took a level 1 class and completely was blown away about how the energy made me feel right away. And I just needed to share it. And once I started sharing it, my energy kept increasing and increasing. And what I love about Qigong is that you've heard the expression, when one or more come together, the energy is exponential. So when we practice as a group, we get to experience the energy at a very higher vibration, and it becomes even more healing for us. So I don't know if that answered the question or not.
It did, yes.
But
and one of the reasons that I feel like courageous self-care is so important is because so many people are seeking more energy and are going about it in a backwards way that's actually reducing their energy. And so it sounds like with Qigong, a lot of what we are seeking is possible, and not just possible, it's inevitable.
Absolutely, yes. And So I guess another thing about Qigong is when we come together in community to heal ourselves and come together as, it seems that Qigong seems to attract a lot more women. Mm-hmm. So usually 8 out of 10 people in our groups are women. And that compassionate care together. And we always set intentions at the beginning of our practice too, to help increase the power, again, of our awareness and our consciousness and our intention about what we want to bring forth during our practice. And I find that this connection with community and connecting with something bigger than ourselves, which is the energy, the life force energy, the energy of the universe, really, when we have this awareness that we're connected to everything around us, it gives us more faith and trust and confidence in the healing power of our mind, our body, our breath. So it's just more powerful than I can possibly explain. It's something that needs to be experienced, and it's so self-nurturing and beautiful.
I love how it's so in alignment with some of the foundations and core values of courageous self-care. So I talk a lot about how one of the biggest mistakes we can make with self-care is thinking that it always needs to be done by ourselves. And what I've seen is that the best healing, the best energy, the best connection actually with ourselves and with others actually happens when we're in community. So that is being reinforced by what you're saying about QiGong.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So Yvette, I have one other question. Is QiGong considered a martial art or not really?
It was basis kind of martial arts. So it's very close to Tai Chi. It's like if you were to take a Tai Chi move and break it, into its smaller parts, we repeat one move, like a very tiny part of the Tai Chi move, over and over and over again. So it's mostly standing meditation, but it can be done sitting or lying down. Originally, these martial arts were to kind of all the Buddhist monks, in the temples, meditating all the time. They were not nurturing themselves with exercise, sitting and stuff. A lot of them actually have diabetes because they weren't moving enough. So this Qigong and Tai Chi was kind of the basis of, ended up for self-defense as well. So if they were to be attacked, they knew how to defend themselves and also take care of themselves because it was the active exercise that they needed. So,
oh, I didn't know that. How intriguing. All right. So thank you for sharing that. We're going to shift gears and move into a little bit more about courageous self-care. So I'm curious what self-care means to you, Yvette.
Okay. Self-care to me means being balanced. So just knowing that I take the time for myself just to breathe and think before I act, think before I say yes, think before I say no. Self-care for me is knowing that I can say no. That's been a very, very big lesson for me. So only committing to what I know that I can do, and also that is going to bring me more joy out of kindness and compassion when I say yes to whatever I say yes to. Self-care is taking that time to spend time in nature and to nourish all of those things, the inspirations, creativity that bring me joy in my life. I used to had 2 young children. I've moved a lot. And I was always kind of running behind, catching up. And that is how I ended up, almost killing myself doing that. So I'm very aware of taking that time to breathe and to enjoy the free beauty in life, which is nature and community and like-minded hearts, I guess.
What you're saying makes me think of the expression that I love: you can be on a mission and still stop to smell the roses.
Yes, perfect.
So I always make sure to smell flowers. Makes me think, okay, yes, I am on a mission and I have more than enough time to enjoy life as well.
Me too. We have 5 senses, 6 senses, actually.
Yeah. So now for the courageous part, the reason, I didn't know the reason initially why the idea of courage came to me combined with self-care, but as I've explored it over the past few years and delved into it and really been really curious about what this actually means, I found that a lot of the time, if not all of the time, for significant transformation to happen through self-care, there's fear. There is the unknown. There is the moving through discomfort to get to something that is so much better on the other side. And so for me, part of that was feeling like that I was at odds with time, that I was always in a rush, that being late was a catastrophe. And like you said, kind of running behind my kids, feeling like I had so much on the go. And then I was able, through 10 years of significant personal development and a lot of learning and implementing, I moved to more of the other side of the continuum, where there is still productivity, and at the same time, I can smell the roses, I can breathe, I can nurture myself. And in order to get there, I did need to change a lot of my beliefs, a lot of ideas, a lot of actions I was taking, and there was fear involved in that. So that's where the courage comes from. And I like to get my guests on the podcast to walk the talk and be examples of what it feels like to stretch our comfort zones, especially in community. So the question I've been asking the guests for the the vendors and the speakers for the festival is, what is something that not a lot of people know about you?
Well, I think because I'm a leader and a teacher, I don't think people realize that I'm actually an introvert. And it's really difficult for me to get up and, like, say, go into a big group of people and mingle and stuff even. But because I have, I can go up and share what I'm passionate about and love, then I'm able to do that fearlessly because I have this connection to something greater than myself. And that is, well, my heart and spirit, and that connection that sharing brings me joy. So another thing that is interesting is I've moved 48 times in my life.
Oh my gosh.
And a lot with my my husband and with my children as well. We moved to Dubai and Oklahoma and Toronto, and I'm from Vancouver, and just all over we moved. And each time I would have to meet new people. And I think kids are really helpful in that, because you go and, they're automatic, the perfect introduction to other parents.
Yeah.
But I would go in and just know that I had to care for these children and friends. So basically I would bring all these kids in from school and bring them together, and then bring their parents together as well. And that was really difficult for me to create a space for everyone to get together. But I knew that it would make everything better somehow. So I was able to become kind of like an extrovert for that.
Yes.
And for me, that took like an amazing amount of courage. But when I was bringing community together and being able to connect people together, that made me feel, I don't know, it just gave me joy again and connection. But I didn't feel, I guess I don't know how to explain it, but for me, that was the most courageous thing I could do. And it helped so many other people.
That's a powerful story. And I'm actually impressed that you could keep track of moving 48 times. I would have lost count.
I wrote it down a couple of times. Yeah. A child, but I should be a psychopath by now, according to some psychiatrists.
Well, QiGong to the rescue.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So, Yvette, I'm sure people are wanting to know more about QiGong and experience your work. Where can they find you online?
I have a website called, it's www.qigongwisdom.ca, and QiGong is spelt QiGong. So like QiGong. So
perfect. Yeah. Excellent. Now, at the festival, we have been compiling and getting our heads together and creating amazing swag bags. For each of the first 100 guests to arrive bright and early in the morning, they will get a swag bag filled with not just business cards and pieces of paper, but actual things and recipes and items. And my intention was, when people reach into the bag and pull out, that it would be like being on Oprah's favorite things show. Oh my gosh, look at this. Well, there won't be cars and TVs in there, but really meaningful, significant symbols of self-care. So what are you contributing, Yvette?
So someone will get a free hour of a QiGong class, like coming to a QiGong class where you can just practice and learn without even knowing anything, or you can come to a free intro, which I would do an hour-long intro and take you through a little bit more of the history of QiGong.
Mm,
So
that sounds
they can
wonderful.
come to whatever one they want to come. I have a few classes in the city at night and on Thursdays, and so there'll be a few choices of classes they could come to, or just come to a intro class, which will be once a month or something, a choice on that.
Oh, I love the gift of an experience, especially one that's so powerful as what you offer. So thank you for doing that. And Yvette, I really appreciate you sharing your wisdom and your energy and your passion with us today. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, Christina. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. So if you are anywhere near Calgary, I invite you to join us at the festival. It's happening on Saturday, November 17th at Mount Royal University in the Ross Glen Hall. And it's a full day experience. You get to choose your own adventure, going to different speakers. There's a wellness passport that you complete in the wellness marketplace, and you can win prizes. And it's going to be a day of community and connection, along with creativity and curiosity, and a whole new way of thinking about self-care. To encourage you and entice you to come, I would love to offer you a free ticket as a gift for listening to this episode. So if you are feeling called, please go to selfcareticket.com and you can activate your ticket there, your imaginary ticket. It will turn into a registration, and then you can just show up. So that is what I would love for you to do. Thank you so much for listening, and thanks again, Yvette.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
And I look forward to connecting with you again next time. Bye-bye for now.